Snyderman does whatever a Snyder can with Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. And while all the talking heads on the interwebs seem to think it's Rebel scum, I for one thoroughly enjoyed this film. Now before you unsubscribe and write nasty comments, let me tell you why. Love or hate his films, Zack Snyder has a very distinctive visual style that I happen to personally enjoy. He blends a painterly sense of composition and color with a more extreme and larger-than-life comic book vibe. And from the costumes and visual effects to the action set pieces and cinematography, Rebel Moon is dripping with Zack Snyder's signature style. But speaking of the visuals, I particularly liked the design for the Motherworld's tech. It reminded me of a mix between 90s era anime and grungy analog Soviet technology, which makes perfect sense since the Imperium officer costumes were based on Soviet uniforms from World War I. Now, I really liked all the heroes in this film, but there were a few standouts for me personally. First is Prince Terek. He was incredibly cool, though I do wish he could have flown that wizard griffin once again. Now, I've fought in the Clone Wars, but Jimmy is by far the coolest battle droid I've ever seen. He doesn't have much screen time, but when he shows up, it's like Superman joined the fight. Up next is Korean actress Doona Bae as Nemesis, and she's still one of my absolute favorite characters in the entire film. There's so much loss and pain behind her eyes, and she gives a very powerful and emotional performance. Again, my only complaint with her is that I wish I could have seen her fight a bit more. And finally, the Scargiver herself, Korra, played by Sofia Boutella. Now, the character of Korra could have very easily been a stoic, bland, invincible warrior character. But even though she is a strong fighter, there is a vulnerability to her personality that you don't see in movies very often these days. She is flawed, afraid, and feels unworthy of being loved due to the terrible things she's done in her past. And Sofia Boutella plays the part of a tragic hero perfectly. But a hero, as we all know, is only as good as the villain they face. And Rebel Moon has one of the very best villains I've seen in a long time, and an admiral who is far from noble indeed. Unlike most modern films, he is taken completely seriously. No one mocks him. He is not made to look like a fool or a joke. He is a genuine threat, and absolutely brutal on the battlefield. Since it was originally pitched as a Star Wars film by Zack Snyder, certain comparisons are in order, and I have noticed in both the sequel trilogy and the Ahsoka series, the villains often look like they're holding back during lightsaber duels so they don't overpower the hero. The heroes, meanwhile, often show little emotion and remain stoic, for fear that emotions would make them appear weak. In Rebel Moon, however, during the climactic duel between Admiral Noble and Korra, he doesn't hold back. He is absolutely vicious. Korra is afraid, in pain, and struggles to gain the advantage, making her fight feel more intense and desperate. She has a legitimate challenge to overcome, and it makes their fight feel more real. Zack Snyder is a very visual storyteller, and maybe it's because I watch a lot of anime, but I didn't mind hearing the main characters' backstories over flashback sequences. I also saw a lot of people complaining about the grain harvesting scene, but to me, it served to show the simple, peaceful way of life Korra and the others were fighting to protect. Many Asian films have lonely warriors who lost everything find peace in farming. Jet Li's Fearless, for example. So it didn't seem weird to me. And while Star Wars is a space opera about the chosen one, Rebel Moon is about the broken ones, people without hope who've lost everything, slowly finding purpose and a will to live once again. At its core, beyond all the spectacle and action set pieces, it is a redemption arc for people who feel they've made too many mistakes. The message of the movie is that you can change the course of your life, even if you've lost your way in the past. And that is a very powerful and important message, particularly today. Remember, you are more than who you have been. You are more than your failures, and your mistakes do not define you. This has been Vader Reviews. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, May the Force be with you.